Hey y'all, D Philly here with Timberborn from Mechanistry. It's still in demo mode, and they say that it's supposed to be released sometime in early access in 2021. We're already past early 2021 in my opinion, so we'll see, but I'm really hoping that the early access at least comes out this year because I've really been enjoying this game. So I wasn't able to talk while actively playing, so I'm just going to be kind of narrating what I did while it plays quickly in the background with some entertaining, chill beats. Whenever I get started, you of course want to throw the log pile down, but I like setting up the roadways and a water spot immediately, a water pump house. That way, if there's downtime for the builders, they'll be working on the roads and getting those set up, and you don't really have to worry about them later on, when you want to speed up your beavers' pathways and all of that. And the water tank is a must. That should definitely be one of the first things you get up, because the entire goal of this playthrough for me was to make it through to the end game, the second season, to survive that with all of my beavers. And so I could care less about research and all that. I threw up one science building. That's good enough for me. I only have two things that I really wanted to unlock to ensure that this playthrough would make it to the end. Aside from that, focus was on housing, food, water, and, well, trees. Always get as many water towers as you can set up, but considering you have to balance the wood supply as well as building those, I really had to manage what they needed to build first, because as you can tell, I'm already going through the trees like crazy on the right side of the map, so I have to get over to the left side, and that takes wood to get stuff set up on that side, because I had to set up a builder's flag, a logging flag, all that kind of stuff. So the water tanks at this time, I was kind of just setting off to the wayside, because again, the first drought isn't that scary, so I had time to collect more water. I didn't have too many beavers. It's all good. And then I had to throw the food down, of course, because that is very important. You don't think so at first because you get so many berries collected up, but let me tell you, when the droughts hit, that food just starts plummeting, like just skydiving right off a freaking cliff. So carrots are the best thing to start out with. They grow fast and they don't have any extra steps like potatoes or anything like that. Potatoes take a lot longer, and I feel that they're more down the road once your village has become established and kind of can run itself smoothly without you micromanaging everything. Because you also have to spin the wood for the grill, and then the grill uses wood to cook the potatoes, and it's just, extra steps. And again, this was supposed to be a streamlined run through. Now, I've got the points to unlock stuff, or I will soon, I don't remember, but my issue is that I didn't think about it and how much wood it takes to build water wheels, and I really needed to get the plank making sawmill up. So, I'm rushing to get that finished as well as get more trees cut down, and because the forester needs planks to be able to be built, and the entire point of doing research was to get that forester so I can ensure that I'll continuously have wood throughout this playthrough to supply my food and building needs and all that. So that was a little bit of a setback, which ends up making it so that my village doesn't grow as much as I usually get them to. On top of that, it seems that they kind of reduced the breeding of the beavers, which is a good thing in the long run. Don't get me wrong, that is a very good thing because the population booms can really screw you over. But the issue is that I had ample housing, more than enough food and water, and yet my population remained stagnant. So it was really hard to assign jobs and get things running correctly. Beaver juggling was a hobby of mine for quite some time. And it actually continued to be to the very end because there were some things where, I just didn't have the beavers for it. And so I had to move them around. Of course, I can't really say that because once the drought hits, my water workers couldn't work anymore. So I actually had beavers who couldn't work. So I guess it really wasn't that much of an issue. It's just when I was actively doing things like planting and harvesting and all that, it would have been nice to have extra beavers, but that's okay. It's really nothing too major because again, in the long run, that is going to be very handy that they reduce the population booms. Now, when it comes to harvesting, especially the carrots, what I like to do is harvest like just a little section and then set the beavers to planting. And then once they've planted that little section, set them back to harvesting, let them get another section, and just repeat that process. That way your carrots are continuously ripening in a nice cyclical pattern, something, I don't know, like continuous pattern. You're just constantly harvesting and planting, and it's just kind of a nice pattern. And so now we have the dry season approaching. I've got my forester up, I've got trees going in. Unfortunately, they're gonna be starved of water for a little bit, but this first drought really isn't that bad. It's over fairly quickly. You don't really feel too much of an impact from it. It's just a nice little taste of the hell you'll be going through in the future. And obviously I opened up the little pocket of water on the left that was attached to the river. There was like a little dam blocking it. And I have now started setting up my second watering spot, which I'm gonna go overboard with because, again, that second drought, it's a beast and it's gonna get you. So I really wanted to have an overabundance of water. It's better to have too much than too little. Especially when you were intending on having an irrigation tower. But let me tell you, those just eat up your water supplies. It's better to honestly just wait until you are more than established before putting in irrigation supplies. I mean, if your goal is to get your beavers to live to the very end and you don't mind them running out of water. Anyway, so because there's so much downtime right here, I decided to throw up a potato area and everything. That way, they had a jump start on getting the potatoes up for the second drought and getting some stuff cooked. Didn't realize how quickly they go through potatoes though, gonna be honest, but I think that helped spare the carrots and berries for a while. And you always want to get more storage up as well, because the builder's building, like the main hub, yeah, it has some storage, but really not that much. And then each of the bigger storage buildings only carry 200. And you want, like, at least 800 food or something like that. I keep track of it later on in the video when it hits the second drought, but you want a ton of food, and just a couple storage buildings isn't going to cut it. I ended up having 4, I think. Or I only got 3 built, and then my 4th one I wasn't able to finish because I was lacking planks, because I was lacking water, and everything. It really doesn't matter anyway. But see, watch how those carrots pop up. And, granted, this didn't go as well as I wanted with the harvesting, but as you can tell, it makes it so that it goes in like a wave of ripening, and that kind of gives the beavers time to, harvest and whatever. But since I had 2 farmhouses going, it kind of made it easier to get mass harvesting going on. They just got a little confused for a little bit, and I forgot that I could specify 1 farmhouse for carrots, 1 farmhouse for potatoes. So as you can see, I am rushing to get more water things done because I really wanted to get that central irrigation system set up for the carrots and potatoes. It wouldn't reach the trees very much, but that's fine. There were more than enough popping up at this point in maturity that we should be able to have enough to build things throughout the second dry season if need be. Like houses. That's typically the only thing that I end up building in the second dry season are houses to make up for the beavers, which also is kind of not a smart thing to do since it encourages population growth, which encourages more eating and drinking. But again, the population was growing so stagnant, the population was growing so slowly, I wasn't too concerned about that. Just water tower, water tower, water tower, water tower. Of course, at this point, I had mowed down enough of the trees and was having an issue getting enough loggers and builders going that I just couldn't finish all of the water towers I wanted to on top of all of the other building stuff I wanted to do. See, here comes the dry season. And I got that first irrigation tower up and going, which is nice, but it really cuts way too much into your water supply. And I really just wanted to keep my beavers alive to the very end. And I believe I had like almost 1,200 water at the beginning of the second drought. And at the very top, there will be a big bar showing, well, it'll show my materials too, which really doesn't matter. Who cares about how much wood I have? It's actually not just wood, it's explosives. I never use the dynamite. But anyway, at the very top will be the bar with my food and water supplies. So you can keep track of how much they had throughout this second drought, which is now hitting. And man, that water tank, like I love the irrigation system in this game. It's cute and it's sensible, you know, it makes sense. They don't have a lot of power and stuff. I'm sure that when you get further into the end game, there will be more like automated water stuff because of the power that we have from the water wheels and all that. But anyway, it just uses way too much water and I did not want my beavers crashing before the end of the second season. I was getting a bit nervous as we got towards the middle of the second dry season because I'd already gone through almost half of my food and water supplies. And I noticed that there was like this huge uptick in the consuming of these items by the beavers. And yeah, there was a little bit of a population growth, but really not enough to equate to them going through stuff that quickly. But, you know, whatever. It's really no big deal except for the fact that it made me very nervous as time progressed. Really, that's all this is just me watching them survive in this part because there wasn't much I could do for them. I didn't really want to build anything else. The ones that had jobs knew what they were supposed to do, and aside from that, it's just a matter of sitting back and watching it. Woohoo! We survived! And yeah, we did it with 39 beavers alive. 34 beavers were born throughout this playthrough, and unfortunately, 6 beavers died. I assume from natural causes, but they were out logging and things like that, so who knows what tragedies could have occurred for these poor furry things, but they made it through, and I'm very happy with that. I'm going to zoom in on these stats and leave it up a bit for those of you who are interested in the more minute details. I used apparently 330, I think I just went through and started unlocking stuff when I was just idling around for a bit. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you around. Bye.